Hi, everyone. Last night I came to an incredible realization. My kids never knew Zadies. It's not the biggest crisis, honestly. Both my father, Zichrono Livracha, and Lahavdil Bein Achayim Ubein Achayim, my father-in-law, had grandchildren when my oldest was born. Both had successfully lobbied to be Saba among our respective nieces and nephews, and neither seemed ready to or want to relinquish the title when our oldest came along. Saba seemed good enough. So we popped on a location for context, Saba Woodmere, later proudly Saba Yerushalayim, and Saba from Cleveland, and everyone walked away happy. Well, a few years ago, one of the kids noted that in the Alanisim that we recite on Chanukah, he or she thought that he or she saw a Zaidi, actually a group of them, and they were on the wrong side. For after all, in the context of noting the great miracle of the defeat of the Greeks at the hands of the Jews on Hanukkah, we note that the strong defeated the many, the large army in the hands of the small, etc., and Zadim, biados rasecha, which she said were the Zadis in the hands of those who study Torah. Why were the Zadis the bad guys, she asked. And what happened when the Zadis learned Torah? Did they lose too? Last night, as we began Hanukkah, I found myself going back to my child's question. Well, my kids never knew a Zaidi. What would I tell the other grandparents and grandchildren who did? Is the title Zaidi indicative of a bad relationship? What would we tell all Zaidis of history? What about the famous Shpola Zayda, Rabbi Yehuda Leib of Shpola? Was he given a negative nickname? In the world of Hasidus, that's unheard of. That can't be. So who are the Zaydim of Hanukkah? And why are we contrasting them so awkwardly with the Oske Sorasecha, with those who are involved, with those who study Torah? Plus, of course, Zaydis and Zaydim are two different things. Zaydis serve as a link in the belt chain of Mesorah. They're the elders who give us pride in the nation we're privileged to be a part of. They provide us with an esteem and a stolz for being the chosen people of Hashem, as links to Him, going all the way back through to Sinai, through our Torah connection with Hashem. Zaydim have a totally different purpose and makeup. Rav Shimon Schwab translates the word Zaydim as purposeful evildoers. In fact, we had a whole bracha in Shmona Esrei to challenge them. David HaMelech noted that they derided him. The Zaydim halitzuni ad ma'od, he says. They derided him, Zaydim, very, very much. And Rabbeinu Yonah explained that Zaydim act utilizing haughtiness and cynicism to keep one from contemplation. They are, notes Rav Schwab, the people who try to influence us away from our faith, either through long-winded speeches of nothing in our Torah centers at one point in history, or like the communists, by keeping us from the Torah itself at another point in history. Either way, the Zaydim, unlike Zaydis, keep us away from our own pride in Torah, and thus deny our connection to it and Hashem at the same time. There can be only one antidote to Zaydim. If Zaydim want to keep us from being enlightened to the world through Torah values and the appreciation of the depth contained in its ways, then we must really oppose the superficial methods they employ by engaging with a deeper relationship with the Torah. And so hence it's not the Zaydim who fell to the hands of Lomdei Sorasecha, those who study your Torah, but it's Zaydim biad Oskei Sorasecha, it's the superficial who try to engage those who engage in Torah in a deeper level, and thus engage the world on a deeper level as well. The Torah helps the person clear the darkness that David HaMelech notes elsewhere. Gam mizaydim chasoch avadecha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you should keep us and darken us. Al yim shalubi, don't keep those people from appreciating how Hashem and His people and His Torah help one appreciate how the world really runs. It isn't the superficial when one is illuminated in the process. And in that regard, Yosef is a typical opponent of the superficial Zaydim. Take a look at our Parshas Mekeitz. He's called upon to interpret Paro's dreams. The Midrashim note that the regular dream interpreters tried to offer superficial explanations to Paro, and the king wouldn't accept them. Yosef not only rises to the occasion with a dream interpretation of depth as it came from Hashem, he offered a deep and detailed plan of action as a result of the dream. He urges Paro not to be an omaid, somebody who's content standing on the side of the or watching the economy and the world collapse, but to be one who does something about it from a position of depth and understanding. Like Zechariah promises the people in the special Haftorah for Shabbos Chanukah, which we'll read this Shabbos, when we listen to the word of Hashem, V'nasati lecha mahalchim beina omdim ha'ela. Hashem will give us movement between those who stand still. Yosef jumps in at the chance to bring forth the word of Hashem, to get the world moving and prepared. His energy and his wisdom with the Torah pulsating depth through to his core impresses Paro. In fact, the king takes Yosef's advice and tells the members of his own cabinet that there's only one choice for this new leadership position, a famine planner and economic leader, Yosef. Why, says Paro? What are his qualifications? To take the person who had been enslaved and make him now viceroy? Hanimsa kazeh, is it possible to find within the land of Egypt, or anywhere else in the world for that matter, Ish asher ruach Elokim bo. There's no one like him who has the spirit of Hashem inside of him. Yosef's wisdom is not superficial like the rest of Egypt. He doesn't engage in a philosophy of, hey, lighten up, when it comes to his personal spiritual advancement. He seeks to know Hashem in a deep and expansive way, and he sees Hashem in himself and in his world as a result. Yosef is an osek. He works hard on his relationship, and boy, does it certainly pay off. I was thinking about the Zaydim of the past, who tried to lull our desire for depth and our appreciation of ourselves, Hashem's world, and the Torah, that is its instructional guide, which has been the evil plan of so many of our enemies of the Jewish people by Yamim Ha'im in those days, and the sharp similarities to the challenges presented to us through artificial intelligence, Bazman Hazeh. Yes, AI can be a great tool in our lives when it enhances a deeper appreciation of life itself. However, if we replace personal, meaningful, and deep relationships with our world with that which is artificial, then we're losing the meaning of Torah life and of the value of being an Osek Batorah. We lose not only the connection to Hashem, we lose our connection to ourselves. Our Zaydis, and by the way, our bubbies of the past, worked too hard to let that happen and deny the opportunities of a deep, meaningful relationship living to us. We can't allow ourselves to do the same to our grandchildren. Zaydim want us to water down life. Chanukah teaches us that endurance comes from depth, not superficiality. Depth promotes long-lasting, meaningful relationships, like those with Zaydis, so that we do not adopt cheap, inadequate replacements like the Zaydim want to offer. Our charge, especially on Chanukah, therefore, in response to the Zaydim, is to remember and properly respond on a deep level the question musically posed by Moshe Yes so many years ago. Who will be the Zaydis of our children? Who will be the Zaydis if not we? It's a question that we need to ask for the Zaydis of the past who prepared the grandchildren of today. And it's a question that we will be able to provide when the grandchildren of today become the Zaydis of tomorrow. You and I have that opportunity to take not only this Chanukah, but all future days of Chanukah and the lessons thereafter, making them full of depth and meaning as we go along, wishing you a Chanukah Sameach and a Shabbat Shalom to all with depth and love. Shabbat Shalom to